This video is brought to you by CatBeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Yo, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we got the performance review on these guys right here. This is the ANTA KT Outdoor 2 Low. There is a mid. I have not tried it. It's basically the same exact tooling with a redesigned upper. I will not be reviewing those, but these guys were beastly. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So starting off with the traction here, this was just awesome. It wasn't Hall of Fame level awesome, but it was awesome nonetheless. For a lot of you guys, durability is a huge concern when buying basketball shoes, and unfortunately today basketball shoes are just not durable as far as the rubber is concerned. It's just not. It's either the traction pattern or it's the rubber compound or it's both. Whatever the case may be, shoes today are meant to be worn and worn out quickly so that you can go buy another one of their crappy products. For a brand to actually release a shoe that's like, yo, this is an outdoor shoe, we're not gonna, give you anything weird and all that. It's just gonna have solid rubber on there. It's gonna be durable rubber. This is a good look right here. ANTA calls it hardcourt rubber, so it's durable. It's kind of like their version of XDR, if you will. And then the pattern itself is just weird. It looks like a wiper blade, to be perfectly honest. And from a linear standpoint, moving front to back, stopping, jab steps, pullbacks, or step backs, whatever you want to call them. These guys grip the floor extremely well in those situations. And then laterally, it doesn't look like it would do much of anything, but for whatever reason, this shit was like really grippy, dude. So I think it's a mixture between the pattern itself as well as the rubber compound. But like I said, these guys are like wiper blades, like on like a windshield wiper or like a squeegee. So basically this stuff just creates a ton of friction on the court, no matter if it was dusty or not. Now something to keep in mind is that indoors, when I was using them, that's where I took them first, there seemed to be some sort of residue on the outsole. So they were a little slick at first, but they broke in rather nicely within a couple of hours. Afterwards, they have not given me a problem indoor or outdoor. For those of you guys that think that squeaking is a part of traction, which it's not, these guys actually squeak really, really loud, and if you like that, then this is that shoe. These guys squeak louder than almost any shoe that I've played in before. Now the cushion is what ANTA's calling A-Shock. I really don't know what that is. I don't know like how it's implemented or anything like that. It could be that this is a carrier and then there's some sort of cushion full length embedded within the midsole, similar to Adidas's bounce system. Or it could be similar to the KT2, where again, it's a carrier and then there's different zones of, different types of foam in the heel and forefoot. Or it could just be the entire midsole, which is what I'm thinking it is, just based off of how it all feels. It feels very consistent. But what I do know is that this is comfortable, dude. Like, it's like really, really comfortable. Almost as comfortable as OG Micro G. Very similar to Adidas's bounce. And so what that's gonna give you is good court feel with semi-plush cushioning. It's not like super soft or anything like that. So for those of you that like a firmer setup, this is gonna cater to you without being too mushy. And for those of you that like something that you can actually feel working underneath your feet, this is gonna give that to you as well. So it's kind of catering to both parties without, overdoing it in one attribute or the other. But yeah, very, very good cushion. It was surprisingly good. I would not say that it's better than the KT2, but it is just below it. And I'm talking like just barely below it. Like they're almost on par with each other. Now the materials, in my opinion, this is like one of the biggest highlights of the shoe in terms of comparing it to its previous model, which I did not like whatsoever. I did not like the original KT outdoor model. It feels like ANTA's been stuck in like 2009 for a while, where they're like just using fuse all over the place, and it's like, guys, it's 2017, fuse is done, man. Like, you use it very sparingly, and that's exactly what they did here. They mixed it up with some modern materials, which is the textile, the mesh overlays. It's nice and soft, very forgiving, breaks in super fast. It doesn't even require much break-in at all. And then they have fuse just in high wear areas and stretch zones, so it's perfect. It's like the ideal setup of today's footwear. And then the back section is synthetic leather. Nothing to see here, nothing fancy, you know what I mean? It works, it does its job, it's durable, doesn't bother me whatsoever. You can compare it to shoes that you've already played in from other brands, like US based brands. If you want to compare it to a Nike, the Nike Hyper Live or the Zoom Live. You can even compare it a little bit to the Air Jordan 31, where it's got the synthetic back and then the softer forefoot, or something like the KD7, but the KD7 had a really structured heel, which these do not. So the materials on these guys is nothing different than what you're already used to. So don't let the brand or the fact that this is a Chinese brand muck up your head or anything like that. It's not a big deal. A shoe's a shoe as long as the shoe's done well, and this is a well done shoe right here. As far as fit, they fit true to size. However, there is a slight bit of heel slip in the heel area. Not from side to side, the heel counter does a great job of that, making sure that your foot stays on the footbed. But for whatever reason, this inner lining is just really slick. It's like super smooth just by touching it. And when you're warming up or whatever in the shoe, it kind of feels like your heel is gonna slip out just a little bit. For whatever reason, the more that I played in them, like the more damp my socks got, the more it stuck to the material. So it's not an ongoing issue, it's just something that you feel initially before you start actually like going at it. In order to combat that, you could go down half a size if you have a narrow foot. Because this material is soft, it should be okay, but to me, going true to size was just fine. In terms of overall lockdown, the forefoot area felt a slight bit loose. I had to really yank those laces as tight as possible. And then the rear section with the synthetic didn't have any issues whatsoever. Support was pretty good. It wasn't like crazy or overabundant. It feels very nice on foot. You have your basic support features, which include the external heel counter. Does a great job, like I said earlier, of making sure that your foot stays within the footbed and not shifting off side to side. And then right here at the forefoot, you have an exaggerated midsole, which sticks out as a large lateral outrigger, which I think is fantastic. The overall fit and everything of the shoe works really well with the foot. Again, you have these overlays right here preventing too much stretching, so it's kind of like in a stress zone area. And then the midsole is molded in a way to where it's cupping the foot, so you're sitting within the footbed a little bit, which I think is fantastic. It provides a lot of lateral stability within the shoe. Now, something that I think that they are lacking is a midfoot torsional shank. It didn't bother me, but if you are a little bit heavier than me, or if you're a heavy foot striker, it might bother you. It just doesn't feel like there's anything in there, you know what I mean? So they're very anatomical, so they move well with the foot, which is probably why I didn't, you know, notice anything. It's just something to where if you're expecting some rigidity right there, it's not really there. And that pretty much takes care of it. These guys are surprisingly good shoes. Like I really did not like the first one, so much so that I just stopped playing them. I didn't want to review them and all that stuff because I just thought that they were trash. These guys right here though, they're very comfortable and they are very well rounded. They got a little bit of everything. They got some nice cushion, great traction, and it's durable. The price is right as well. They're well under $100, or they're not well under $100, but they're 80 bucks, which isn't bad. The materials are more modern than anything that they've used in the past. They got rid of a lot of fuse and they're using a lot of textiles, which I like. And that's pretty much it. So, you know, nothing much else to say. I think that these are solid sneakers. If you're interested in grabbing a pair, there will be a link down below in the description box, which is where I got them from. They have a few different colorways. And like I said, if you don't like the low top version, you can always go with mid. Should give you very similar performance. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Let me know what you guys think about these. Are you interested in an outdoor hoop shoe that doesn't break the bank? If so, these might be right up your alley. So thank you guys again, and until next time guys, have a good one.